2013. The notice requirements provided for in the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied. Notice of this meeting was properly given by transmission to the Asbury Park Press, the Star Ledger, the Independent, and the Tubular Times, and by posting at the Middletown Township Municipal Building and filing with the Township Clerk on January 11, 2013. Committeeman Fiore. Committeeman Estelle.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Murray.
Here.
Committeeman Sandberg.
Here.
Mayor Sharp.
Here.
Please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence on our troops serving worldwide, defending our freedoms, constitutions, and values. Thank you. Our first item on tonight's agenda, we have certificates of appreciation proclamations. The presentation of the 2013 e-Government Award has been postponed until our next regular meeting. And we're going to begin with the proclamation declaring April as National Prayer Day.
I'll just read this in for the record. Whereas civic prayers and national days of prayer have a long and revered history in America, dating back to the First Continental Congress in 1775, and whereas the Declaration of Independence made the laws of nature and nature's God the foundation of our United States of America, and asserted that the people have unalienable rights that are God-given, and whereas in 1988, legislation setting aside the first Thursday of May annually as National Day of Prayer was passed unanimously by both houses of Congress and signed by President Ronald Reagan. And whereas the National Day of Prayer is an opportunity for Americans of all faiths to join in prayer to give thanks for blessings received, to request healing for wounds endured, and to ask God to guide our leaders and brings harmony to the United States and her citizens. And whereas it is fitting and proper to give prayers of thankfulness for the religious freedoms and civil liberties with which we are blessed, and observe a day of prayer in Middletown Township and in New Jersey. And whereas this year marks the 62nd annual day of prayer with the theme, Pray for America, now therefore I, Mayor Jerry Schaffenberger, and the Middletown Township Committee proclaim May 2nd, 2013 as a day of prayer in the Township of Middletown. And after the events of today, I think this is quite timely.
Amen.
Our next item on tonight's agenda will do a presentation of the 2013 Safety Award from the Monmouth County Joint Insurance Fund. At this time, I'd like to invite our Assistant Administrator, please come forward.
Spotlight on me for a moment. If you don't mind explaining folks what the JIF is and what this award means. Sure.
The JIF is the Monmouth County Joint Insurance Fund, which we're one of the 33 members of. And they gave this award to us and to actually to all the shore communities, all the member communities in honor of the fact that we did a tremendous job in safety during the hurricane. We had very few injuries throughout the JIF. In fact, Middletown had a couple of minor injuries during the storm. So everybody paid attention to safety, and everybody stayed safe during the cleanup efforts. So that's what this is. Thank you, sir.
We need questions.
Thank you.
Chris, you want to hold something?
I think so. He's hanging on the wall.
Our next presentation is a proclamation declaring National Volunteer Week, April 21st to April 27th, 2013. At this time, I'd like to invite our volunteer corps members, Tracy Keogh and Michelle Rita, to please come forward, and Assistant Fire Chief John Grossman Jr.
Yes.
said about our volunteers. Middletown has always been a township community of volunteers. They do so much for us, and we were a volunteer community before Sandy, certainly during, and I think more so now after Sandy, where we saw the value of people pulling together, donating their time and energy to really help through one of the most tragic and serious times that we've ever seen as a community. And we go way back into history. I don't think we can ever find anything on the scale and the enormity of the storm. It really showed us the meaning of volunteerism, what it means to us, and certainly the cost savings to the town we can't quantify. In fact, I always like to say we can't put a price on volunteers. The reason you guys don't get paid because we can't put a price on what you do for us. We'd never be able to afford it. So with that, I'm going to read. I understand they're all fairly the same, so I'll pass them out to you. Whereas Middletown Township is well known for its spectacular volunteer spirit, a large measure of Middletown's strength, beauty, and unique character is derived from the outstanding contributions made by thousands of residents who volunteer in every facet of everyday life and play a vital role in many organizations and groups. And whereas residents who volunteer their time provide assistance which cannot be measured in terms of dollars, volunteers provide a spirit of helping that multiplies in value when each resident reaches out to assist another. And whereas volunteers throughout the township of Middletown donate their time to a wide variety of programs such as the arts and recreation, youth athletic leagues, Meals on Wheels, and most recently, programs that are helping residents recover from Superstorm Sandy. And whereas volunteers provide vital emergency services through the all-volunteer Emergency Medical Service Department, Fire Department, Police Auxiliary, and Emergency Management. And whereas residents also donate their time helping the Township of Middletown through their service on nearly 24 township boards, committees, and commissions. And whereas the Mayor and Township Committee extend their deepest gratitude to the fine men and women who generously donate their time to the community. And therefore, I, Mayor Jerry Schaffenberger, and the Middletown Township Committee do hereby proclaim April 21st to the 27th, 2013, as National Volunteer Week in the Township of Middletown. We urge all residents to recognize, support, and commend these special volunteers. And I'll start with the folks to my left here by thanking you for everything you do.
It's been our honor. It's truly been an honor that Middletown granted us the liberties that we've had helping the people. It's really, it's truly been an honor.
Well, as I said, we couldn't do it without you, and we may not always say it as often, but we always realize it in our hearts. And we know that when we're together, we talk about it. Where would we be without people who stepped up? We know I've come to the Fort Myers Fire House a bunch of times that the scene, dishing out meals and everything. Just all times of the day, the night, and weekends, it's just extraordinary. And I get a good feeling on the side, some of the volunteers and an array of things too. It really does make me feel good. And I think that's what makes this community so special. I can't thank you enough.
It is a privilege for the fire department to be able to serve the capacity of the human town. And it's because of volunteers that we're able to do that. Thank you.
No, thank you. And I'm coming on Sunday to the fire department. Be the first thing. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Now your note's got to be a photo. All right. Get away from the pew so you're not hitting by that. All right. Now I want to see those lovely seals on the front of the table. We want to make sure they're all facing the right way. Excellent. Thank you.
Happy days.
Our next item on tonight's agenda is a proclamation declaring the week of May 5th through 11th, 2013 Municipal Clerks Week.
How are you not going to make you stand up?
Thank you.
Okay. But you'll have so much praise on you in that room. And listen, I'm including you in this, okay? This is a team effort. But very few people get to see the enormity of the job that the clerks do, other than us on the Township Committee. A lot of folks from the public deal with the clerk on a variety of levels and see it periodically, but we get to see it day in and day out. And I cannot say enough good about Heidi and Melissa and the job they do for the taxpayers on a shoestring budget, severely understaffed, and it really is something to see how efficient and how punctual they are with everything. If I called Heidi up and asked her for something or to look something up for me, I get a call back in an hour. It's just amazing. And I don't know what we would do without her. And she really does a tremendous job. She's a long-time employee, hopefully will be for many years. And there are good clerks in the state. There are not so good clerks. We have neither. We have the best clerk here. So that's really something we're very proud of. And with that, here we go for Municipal Clerks Week, May 5th to 11th, 2013. Whereas the office of the municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the office of the municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the office of the municipal clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies and agencies of government at other levels, and whereas municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. And whereas the municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community, and whereas municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, province, county, and international professional organizations. And whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the municipal clerk. Now therefore, I, Mayor Jerry Schaffenberger, and the Middletown Township Committee do recognize the week of May 5th through May 11th, 2013 as Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our Township Clerk, Heidi Arbrunt, and to all municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. Thank you very much, Heidi, and thank you, Melissa, and we really appreciate everything.
I just wanted to let the press know, and I guess the public know, that during that week, or any time of the year, our office is available for any kind of questions for election information, local government information. I go out and I'll speak to different organizations in the towns, or Boy Scout or Girl Scout troops. And also, I've been invited by League of Women Voters to go speak at schools. So if any of these things trigger anybody to want to know more about local government, I'm available. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item on tonight's agenda, we have a proclamation declaring May 12th through May 18th as Police Week 2013. The Chief Oakes could not be here tonight.
Okay.
So you read that.
I will be happy to read it into the record. Whereas the Congress and President of the United States have designated the week of Sunday, May 12th, 2013 through Saturday, May 18th, 2013 as National Police Week, and whereas the members of the Township of Middletown Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the Township of Middletown, and whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agency, and that members of our law enforcement agency recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. And whereas the men and women of the Middletown Police Department unceasingly provide a vital public service, now therefore I, Mayor Jerry Schaffenberger, and the Middletown Township Committee proclaim that the week of May 12th, 2013 through May 18th, 2013 is designated as Police Week in the Township of Middletown, and call upon all citizens and patriotic civic and educational organizations to to observe this week with appropriate ceremonies and observances in which all of our people may join commemorating law enforcement officers, past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their communities, and in so doing have established for themselves an enviable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all citizens. Thank you.
Our next item on tonight's agenda, we have the approval of minutes for February 4th, 2013 executive session, February 19th, 2013 regular meeting, and the February 19th, 2013 executive meeting.
Move for approval?
Second.
Committeemembers Sal,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Murray,
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino,
Yes.
Mayor Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Motion carries to approve minutes. At this time, we have public hearing on proposed ordinances. We'll begin with public hearing ordinance number 2013 through 3082, an ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Middletown, County of Monmouth, amending Chapter 16, Planning and Development Regulations for the APFE.
Are there any members of the public who would like to speak to ordinance 2013-3082? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Leo Verstappen, 121 Cranberry Court. This is a bleak night for me with Tony Fiore being absent. I just have one question. This is the FEMA ordinance.
Advisory base flood elevation ordinance.
Oh, yeah, okay. I just have one question. You struck out planning board official and inserted construction official. Could you specify the definition of construction official and perhaps give the person's name and inform me and the public as to the vetting of this individual as being an expert and authority on this
Yes, well, Middletown's construction official is Joe Kaczynski, who's sitting 2 rows behind you. It's our determination, and in most municipalities, the floodplain manager is the construction official, because most often issues that arise as to building or rebuilding structures in a floodplain are construction-related issues. So that's the appropriate expert to be the floodplain administrator. And that's the primary change to this ordinance, besides the elevations.
And this is a municipal level, not a county or state level assignment.
No, in fact, the law requires that every municipality has its own floodplain manager. You can't do it at the county level, it has to be done at the municipal level.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Are there any other members of the public who would like to speak to ordinance number 2013-3082? Seeing no further members from the public come forward, move to close the public portion and move to adoption.
Second.
Committeeman Sal,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Murray,
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino,
Yes.
Mayor Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt ordinance 2013 through 3082 for second and final reading. At this time, we have proposed ordinance 2013-3086, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank for NJSA 48:4-45.14.
Move for introduction.
Public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there any member from the public who would like to speak to this ordinance? Seeing no members of the public come forward, move to close the public portion and move for adoption.
Second. Committeeman Sal,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Murray.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino,
Yes.
Mayor Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt this ordinance on second and final reading. At this time, we have introduction of ordinance 2013 through 3087, bond ordinance providing for various field improvements. I just want to read the ordinance by title. A bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $1,500,000 for various field improvements thereto by and for the Township of Middletown and the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, and authorizing the issuance of $1,425,000 in bonds or notes of the Township for financing part of the appropriation.
Move for introduction?
Second. Committeeman Sal.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Murray.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Mayor Sharkey.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on first reading with a public hearing to be held the first meeting in May. May 6th. Our next item for tonight's agenda, we have consent agenda, which will include resolutions 13-119 through 13-126 bingo raffle and volunteer fire applications, removing resolution 13-121 for a separate vote.
Move for adoption?
Second. Committeeman Sal.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Murray.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Mayor Sharkey.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt the consent agenda. This time we have resolution 13-118, resolution authorizing the payment of bills for April 15, 2013.
Move for adoption?
Second.
Committeeman Sal.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Murray.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Mayor Sharkey.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt resolution 13-118. At this time, we have resolution 13-121, a resolution authorizing the award of bid for printing services.
Move for adoption?
Second. Committeeman Sal.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Murray.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Abstain.
Mayor Sharkey.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt resolution 13-121 with abstention noted. At this time, we have Township Committee comments.
Mr. Marcel?
Briefly, I just want to say my hearts and prayers go out to the tragedy that happened in Boston today. My wife and I have a lot of family up there. It's just a horrible thing that we're dealing with. So, again, our prayers go to them. I also want to thank the volunteers again for the amazing job they did at Sandy. Mayor Schaffenberger said it perfectly, but thank you again. And finally, I was just last week went to the march and had the honor of marching in the MIA parade. It's always a fun day. It was, again, I think 6th, 7th year in a row. It was a beautiful day. So that's all we have for today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sedambrino?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to echo Committeeman Masel's comments with regard to Boston, although I'm still learning about it. I was on the road most of the day. It's something that's very, very difficult to absorb, and our hearts and prayers go out to everyone there. Secondly, with regard to the parades, I did have the pleasure of marching with Committeeman Masel at the MYAA parade, which there were 900 kids that participate, somewhere in the range of 90 teams. It's just a massive effort by all of our volunteers, and it simply wouldn't happen without the parents and the coaches there volunteering the time. And then this past Sunday, I did have the pleasure of marching with the mayor and deputy mayor at the Millcroft Little League parade as well. One other comment that I'll make regarding the introduction of the bond ordinance providing for the various field improvements. This, of course, is in the introduced budget at $1.5 million. It includes two new fields, one being a turf field, one being a natural grass field, plus improvements, various improvements to other field locations, which we are determining currently, so we don't know the final locations. We're reviewing that now. One thing to understand, in addition to this $1.5 million, there is $250,000 that the Board of Education, through our shared service agreement, will be providing. So so that there will be $1.75 million going towards field improvements this year, which we fully expect to be executed by the fall. So we look forward to working with our engineer to getting this project implemented, out to bid, and constructed. That's all I have for tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Just first, I'd like to mention the resource fair at the VFW last week. I believe over 200 people were there, and it was a tremendous effort by the volunteer corps and everyone in the town. It was something that the volunteer corps said that they had wanted to do from the beginning, and they executed it wonderfly, and I think it's the first of a few. So just keep up the great work, you're doing a fantastic job. Another event I had the pleasure of going to last week at Middletown North was the job fair at Middletown High School North. But that was also put on by the Community Affairs Council. They had over 200 people there. They also had, for the first time ever, our volunteer components in town. They had the fire department for the first time, and I think the EMS was there, and that's their 22nd, so that's, tremendous work by them as well. I also was at the Little League Parade. Lincroft, my 3 kids playing that, and they had a great time at the parade. And again, just like my colleagues up here are saying, when I left my house, I had heard reports that there were children amongst the casualties up in Boston, and my heart goes out to them, and I'm sure everyone here can echo that sentiment, and we're just going to be praying and thinking of them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Just a few things. You may have noticed on the consent agenda the tax agreement with the Sloan Kettering folks. And this project is something that we can all really be very proud of. And from the state down to the local level here, I have to commend Township Attorney Brian Nelson and certainly Tony Mercantante, our administrator, for being able to put together and execute a very complicated project and system that it has to be worked out. It is very complex. Whenever you get into the weeds of that mucky soil of tax agreements and property taxes and pilots and every sort of thing like that, it always becomes very difficult and the stakes are very high, but all parties really work together to create an agreement that's fair to everybody and will really benefit not only the citizens of Middletown, but the citizens of the surrounding area. We're going to have a world-class facility here in the future for the unfortunate event that somebody comes down with needing cancer treatment. So it really is a phenomenal thing. We're very, very excited about it. I have to take my hat off to the Christie administration who worked with us very hard to pull this together. And the proof is in the pudding, as they say. And a few other things. There were a couple of events, some mentioned here, some other ones. The senior teen dance was this weekend, and it's a program where high school north teenagers get together with some of the seniors at the senior center, and they spend the afternoon with them dancing and singing, and it's really a great thing. And it's really a nice thing to see, because you see the seniors, who are up in years, and you see younger people who you think are a little bit more self-absorbed than you would like to see a lot of times. Not being in any way self-absorbed, really being generous with their time, patient, and just having a great time with people 5 times their age. So it really was great to see. And they were only 4 times my age. Not only 4 times, only 4 times their age. But I'm getting there. But it was a great thing to see and a great turnout. And Patrice Nugent really does a great job at the senior center. And it's funny, the seniors, they're not shy about telling me their problems. Boy, hey, my street needs paving, my brush needs to be picked up. So I heard some of that too, and all was good fun. I also attended the ribbon cutting for the MS law, which was held at Thompson Park on this past Sunday. And having a friend of mine, actually somebody on my staff in Trenton, who has MS, it really hits home when you see all of the people affected by this. And it's an equal opportunity, problem that people are affected by all walks of life, all creeds, all colors, all economic statuses. It's really something. But it's great to see there were about 300 people on a very, very chilly morning, and they raised a lot of money, so that was a great thing. Also, the Lincroft Little League Parade, another great event. Picture perfect day. Great turnout, speaking to a lot of the parents about the new program, the new partnership with the Board of Ed, the Township, and the leagues. I think everybody's going to be very, very happy with the outcome. We're going to see some great things around this town, and we're all very excited to see it go forward. The resource fair, again, another great event, and I want to commend Tony Mercantante for pulling it all together. The volunteer corps were out in force, and I think people got a lot of good information. The representative from the governor's office was there. She's very, very informative and very, very aggressive with looking out for our interests and anything that's concerning us. So we're very lucky to have such a great team behind everybody as we go forward with rebuilding. And last but not least, I just want to say something about the horrible events of today. And it really should give everybody a minute to pause and think about the world we live in and where we're going. It's very disheartening to see this sort of thing happen. Just innocent people, no regard for anything, just to take as many lives as possible. And all I can say is that I hope we as a society throw the gauntlet down and say enough is enough, and not pamper our way out of this, not sort of talk our way out of this. Really come back and hit hard and put a stop to this once and for all before more people die. So anyway, let's hope they get the individuals responsible for this and make them pay for it. And with that, enough out of me.
Now we have public comments.
Before we have public comment, I just want to remind everybody to please, when you come up, just give your name and address, and also to please keep your comments to 5 minutes. And I will enforce that. It's only being fair to everybody else. There may be other folks who want to speak, and we want to keep it orderly. So I would ask that you please comply with the 5-minute rule. So with that, what's your pleasure? See, I have a quick look there. You got to raise your hand.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
Oh, no, don't worry about it. You're the envy of everybody up here.
Yeah, sorry, we'll wait here. I needed to, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I just wanted to...
Name and address, please.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, Jose Ariendo, 52 Willow Circle, and Red Bank, New Jersey, you know. No, I just wanted to speak briefly about what Susan mentioned over there, about the partnership with the Board of Ed and Township to provide tables for our kids. Starting this year, the number of fields are being reduced in Middletown. We've gone for the club, not so much for the league, like the soccer club. I have 3 kids, they were part of the soccer club. And for some reason this year, some parks were taken away from us. I understand that there is a fee that we need to pay, but even, I don't think the township will be able to support or provide the type of field that they're proposing with solar money. So having said that, I would like you guys to, if possible, review that because, as I said, I have 3 kids in the town. I used to go to London Park and practice with the kids. We got an email from the president of the Middletown Soccer Club saying that when I go there, you're going to jeopardize our permits, stay away from that. I have 3 kids. At one point, I took my kid and 3 other friends just to exercise like the way we did today. And we were told, like, no, you don't have a permit, you can't exercise. It's a public park. I think it's getting ridiculous, this whole permitting situation. I think the park should be open for everybody. Soccer, just like any other sport, it's just another sport. And we would like, I have many parents complain to me, when we go to London Park now, it's like, I remember playing St. 3000 at the time. It was like a building game when if you didn't do anything right, your little guys would go and move to another town. That's not what I feel is happening to the bottom. There was such activity going on the weekends, now it's dead. Why? Because we can't play there. Even if we wanted to, it doesn't say a ball. We pay taxes. I don't mind. I don't mind paying more taxes if we have to allow our kids to play in the parks. Because ultimately, that's what we want. I have my 2 kids today running with me because we need to exercise. I live 2 blocks away from Bama, and I can't go there because I'm told you can't go. If you're part of Country Club, you can't go there. And that's not fair. And that's the only thing I want you guys to, if possible, talk about, because right now, the club, I'm part of the club, as I said, the club is growing, they have more teams, but they've been taking parks away from us. So now when we want to practice with the kids, they can't. At one point, we were told to practice Township Park. Township Park is supposed to bottom. It's a school where the grass is like old crabgrass. One of the kids fell, broke her finger. And if that's what we want, we're jeopardizing our kids. We're not providing the things, the parks, the facilities that they need. If we're not providing anything more, if anything, we're taking away from them. And that's the thing that worries me as president. We were able to use old parks and everything, but there's one person in particular, I think Bob Bankhouse.
Bob.
He's, to us, he's been a nightmare to deal with, because in every single email that we receive saying, do not use this park, do not use this park, is because his name is in there. And I think, I honestly ask Senator to consider my request, because I have kids, and just like me, we have hundreds of families that have 47 teams in town. And when I mean 47 teams, it's a big number. And over the weekend, they have to practice. Now they have to practice in small-sided fields because they don't have the room. 47 teams in the weekend, it's impossible.
Now, is this an established league?
Yes, it's a trouble. It's the Middletown Soccer Club.
Okay.
Established league. It's Joe Moreno is the president, and Mr. Bantos is I guess also affiliated to a motorcycle league, St. Mary's.
Mm-hmm.
So there are two competing leagues. Obviously, Bob Bantos has interest on St. Mary's Soccer League, and Joe Moreno have an interest on Middletown Soccer. As parents, we just want to have fields. So our kids can run and practice. And again, you go to Bowman Park, and the park it's sad to go. It's a beautiful, wonderful, big park. Again, park.
Okay, just a couple of things. We're up to the 5-minute limit, but if you don't mind, if you can stay a little bit and give me your contact information. I'd like to talk to Bob and just see, get the other side of it and just see what the situation is from his point, and see if we can't resolve it somehow. But this is something we want these fields to be accessible to everyone. We want them to be nice for everyone. We want them to be as high quality as we can possibly manage and really do it right by everybody.
And as a Middletown resident, as I said, I think every family will be willing to pay more in taxes. That's what we have to do.
Let me stop you right there. I hear what you're saying, but it may not be across the board the way we would like it. But anyway, I appreciate it. Stay around, we'll get your information, and let me look into it a little bit further, okay? Thank you. Anybody else care to speak? Yes, Leo. Where's my gavel?
Good evening again, Mayor Christophe, 121 Cranberry Court, Middletown. In the BMN draft, the agreement for payment in lieu of taxes, whoever constructed this, I think, did the other taxpayers in the township a favor. I just read the draft, and I may have my understanding, maybe a misunderstanding. So I don't know the terms of this agreement. But it would seem to me that there's involved the government will be receiving almost $190,000 a year from this hospital and its subsidiary, and it's supposed to increase by 3% each year for 5 years or indefinitely. What are the terms?
The agreement is an agreement, first thing, let me back up a little bit. Legally, the hospital does not need to pay us anything because it's a non-profit hospital corporation under the tax law. They were, however, willing to pay for the services provided to the facility when it's constructed. The township payment in lieu of taxes, otherwise the tax agreement, really in this case, it's not the legal definition of a payment in lieu of taxes is slightly different, but that's effectively what this is. The terms of the agreement are for the base tax year, which this year is being utilized as a base tax year. So currently, the property that's currently owned there, they pay $189,000 in taxes for their overall tax bill. That would be the base year determination of where the agreement would start effective January 1 of next year. Because it can't start this year, so the assessor's book's already filed for this year. So when they're officially determined nonprofit and they file all their paperwork that they'll need to file after their closing towards the end of this year for the assessor to put it in the book, under this arrangement, they will be paying for that base amount that will increase each year at whatever rate the municipal tax levy increases up to 3% per year. So it's not 3% a year increase, it's up to 3% a year or whatever the levy is for that year and the levy increases.
How many years does this run out?
10 years.
10 years.
And then it's subject to renewal terms. And
Then it'll be open negotiation or whatever, yeah.
yeah, I mean, obviously there's a framework that this will establish, and they're also going to be paying land tax on remainder portion of the unimproved, generally the unimproved portions of the property, because under the law, only up to 5%, 5 acres of property of this type can be exempt.
The committeeman Septembrino said something that caused me to wonder, why do you want to settle on bonding when you're not even sure exactly what the lay of the land is going to be, figuratively and literally, and the difference in cost different lands might cost, and therefore involving perhaps less or more bonding than whatever has been determined, unless you can authorize 1.4 million and then later approve $1 million of that. You know,
let me say it in a different way. The budget, the budget will permit us to make improvements in the $1.5 million range, plus $250,000 from the Board of Ed at 1.75 all in. Do we have approximate costs for a turf field plus a natural grass field plus other field improvements? Of course we do. Will we limit those improvements to within that dollar value? Absolutely, we will. Will the project be completed by the fall of this year? Yes, they will. So do we have some options with regard to those field locations now? We do right now. We released our engineer to review some of the subsurface or geotechnical conditions such that they can support those fields, to make certain that we can build it properly, efficiently, and effectively, and get it done for the fall. But we will live within the means of that 1.75 for those improvements. Again, it doesn't mean that every field will get some type of improvement. The reason for the modified permit fees was to receive monies to begin to pay the debt service on those improvements. And again, we're trying to get the most bang for the buck, if you will, to make those improvements. So again, it's an artificial turf field, it's a natural grass field, plus some other improvements within the fall. So
this raises the final point that
Leo, it's going to have to be final as well.
yes, definitely. Given the economic and financial emergencies that beset this nation, this state, and this county, and this municipality, how emergent is it to bond money when we already are deferring costs and some things are in a state of indeterminacy, causing the budget to be in a state of hesitancy or not full development? How emergent is it to be bonding this money for this land, given the emergencies we're in?
It's not emergent at all, and that's why the permit fees are going to cover the debt service. So this is not going to be a drain on the budget. That's the whole mindset behind the permit fee adjustment. So we're able to do this, upgrade the fields, and have the cost borne by the permit fees.
Bonding is a burden for the first and every subsequent year you pay a debt service on it. Thank you for the time you allowed me to speak.
Let me leave you a final note on that, Leo. And the reason that the mayor mentioned that, when you increase permit fee revenues such that it covers debt service, you have a revenue neutral impact. Okay, so I'm sure you understand that. So we can do improvements. Listen, Hurricane Sandy was a terrible event. We had a $500,000 impact on the budget. But for the introduced budget was 2.2% increase. But for that $500,000, it would have been a 1.14% increase, which is substantively less than the 1.99 increase in the prior year. So that's important to understand. Okay. Number one. Number two, when this committee effectuates improvements to the township, just because the storm hit doesn't mean that we're going to stop making improvements for the rest of the town. That's not going to happen. However, we understand on the committee that in order for us to make improvements, we need to get the improvements to as close to revenue neutral as we can, so that we can pay for those without impacting the budgets. And that's what we've done with these improvements. And that's why it's not a $10 million project. It's a $1.5 million bonding capacity on behalf of the town, because that's what those increased permits would allow for in terms of paying that debt service.
Okay, we're going to have to move on as quick as. Thank you, Leo. Would anybody else care to speak? Seeing no further members of the public come forward, move to close the public portion and move for adjournment.
Second.
Mayor Michelle.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Murray.
Yes.
Ian Sedambrino.
Yes.
Mayor Shelton.
Yes.
Motion carries for adjournment.